All right, we are recording for chapter 14. By the way, it's the same day as the previous recording, and I am still feeling sick. Oh well, let's get through this. Hey, it may make it short. Okay, so yeah, it starts. Chapter starts, and it's like immediately doing something that's like, wait, what? Because suddenly it's talking about Anakin is feeling sleep deprived because he is trying to avoid going to sleep, and he's even trying to avoid resting. So he cannot possibly have the dreams of visions rather of Padme dying in childbirth. Which on the one hand, okay, yeah, that makes sense for his character, how things have been set up earlier. But at the same time, where was this in last chapter? I mean, last chapter ended with him having actually a very good conversation with Obi-Wan. It was great. I loved it. This should have had an impact on that. But instead, nope, none of it. So that's annoying. Um, and then with the next thing, it no, it even is. It's making me dislike Anakin again because he is dealing with Palpatine, and so it's mainly written from Anakin's point of view, and so much of it is he's believing everything Palpatine is saying. He's on Palpatine's side. It's like after his conversation with Obi-Wan in the last chapter, so basically paragraphs ago, like a page or two ago, he should be having some doubt towards Palpatine. He should just be doubting everyone, I think would be the safest solution here. But instead, it's like, no, everything Palpatine is saying, oh yes, the Jedi Council only telling me half-truths and all that. It's like, what about Palpatine? I mean, it's... Yeah, let me even see if I can find it. Because it included Anakin actually apologizing to Obi-Wan. So I'm just looking for where it would be best to start reading. But yeah, just Master, I know I've disappointed you in these past few days. I have been arrogant. I have not been appreciative of your training, and what's worse, of your friendship. I offer no excuse, Master. My frustration with the Council, I know that none of it is your fault, and I apologize for all of it. Your friendship means everything to me. You're wise and strong, Anakin. You are a credit to the Jedi Order, and you have far surpassed my humble efforts at instruction. Just the other day, you were saying that my power is no credit to me. I'm not speaking of your power, Anakin, but of your heart. The greatness in you is a greatness of spirit, courage and generosity, compassion and commitment. These are your virtues. You've done great things, and I am very proud of you. Anakin found he had nothing more to say. Nothing to say. How do you go from that to basically everything that Palpatine is saying Anakin is accepting? Uncritically accepting. It's like, so you make me dislike Anakin because like he shouldn't be this stupid, and is also apparently he's just not Obi-Wan. Who's that? I don't know who that is. I haven't talked to him for days, and everything about him, yeah, I don't really care. I mean, it's no. This is totally inconsistent and is bad. Sorry, just wiping some oils from my wrists off of the laptop there. Anyhow. And also a lot of what Palpatine is saying are half-truths. But one thing they did say, because Anakin talking about the will of the Force, and Palpatine's basically saying, I don't believe in the will of the Force. I actually believe that this is 100% true from him. He's also still spouting half-truths, but I do think that that much is very true. He doesn't believe in the will of the Force, he believes in himself, in his own will. So sort of he sees the Force. I'm sorry, I'm almost certainly getting sick. Hopefully it doesn't last long. But almost certainly is, he sees it as a tool. He sees it as a tool, while the Jedi see the Force as something different, something that, almost like a partner, I guess might be a way to put it. Because, I mean, the sense of humility surrounding to the mysteries of the Force, is kind of a partnership, working with it and accepting it. So there is a certain level of personification for the Force there that Palpatine apparently lacks. And nothing wrong with that. And in a way, even if you want to say that the Force is not alive or anything like that, it still is the view that it is from and of all living things does suggest a greater existence and potentially a purpose to it and to its will, that the Jedi would be more accurate than the Sith are. In that there is a will to the Force. There's a definite one there. You can be part of it. If you are a Force user, you can manipulate that will. But that ultimately the Force itself will be greater than you. So, anyway. One other thing, Palpatine, when talking about this stuff, he starts talking past the sale, where he is basically trying to convince Anakin that there's a group of senators that will want to depose me, and they're doing this at the will of the treasonous council, Jedi Council. So it's like, he's already stating that, oh yeah, the Jedi Council is treasonous. And now talking about these other things, selling past the sale. So we're just assuming that is fact. It is a manipulation tactic, and yes, talking past the sale, also selling past the sale. It is a old, door-to-door salesman technique as well. Where it's like, okay, you are basically acting so yes, you already own it. Now about the thing I'm trying to sell you, now let's talk about all these other things that you can do and all the results of that. Because it makes you attach yourself to that position past the sale and accept that, and so you now want to be in that situation, or you want to react to the situation in the case of Anakin here. There's a typo on page 830, which is amusing for a couple reasons. One is that this does not have a new copyright. Well, no, the individual stories do not have new copyrights, which means that this is a just pure compilation of them. Nothing changed. It was basic copy and paste. Some formatting would have changed, but that's all. Not something that would adjust the copyright. So they did not give it an editing pass for this. At least not that kind of editing. But also, that means it had to have gotten through the editing of the original novelization. And this isn't the first typo I'd found. I don't remember if the other typo that I'd spotted was also in this book or in the original trilogy. Not sure which, but yeah. Typos do happen. And the funny thing is sometimes you do leave them, which actually reminds me. I don't remember which video it was where I pulled out the children many gifts and I was looking and I spotted a typo. It was actually missing opening double quote that hopefully contextually can figure out where it's supposed to be. And I looked. It's from before. I wrote that book before I came up with all of the scripting for converting the document to LaTeX. And I think what happened is when I was bringing things over and I tried to put every sentence to its own line in the code, because LaTeX is perfect for this, because a single line break means nothing to it as far as typesetting. So you can't have every sentence in a paragraph. In a paragraph is no line breaks in there, but every sentence can be its own line in LaTeX code. If you have 2 lines, well, more than 2 lines. If you have a whole bunch, you'll only see it as 2. But basically, if there's an empty line between 2, then it takes it as a line break. I try to do that in there because it helps with finding changes. And I think some process that I used to break the sentences into separate lines accidentally got rid of that open quote, because it is in the Word document. So whenever it is I get around to giving that an editing pass in the future, it'll be around when I do the assigned reading videos for it, which will be a while. That will just naturally be taken care of because I will be using these scripts. So yeah, it'll probably find and fix a bunch of other things too. But still is. I don't feel bad about it staying there for, it could be a couple years before I get to all that. Anyway, getting back to this. So, Palpatine is now talking, about the whole, the Ascenders conspiring against me and likely also the Jedi. He starts trying to put a wedge between between Anakin and Padme with this. And also between him and Obi-Wan. That Obi-Wan may be involved with this because he went to see her at an unseemly hour, and also describes her as being a leader amongst the Ascenders, which is not true and true. It's both. Because on the one hand, it is untrue. They had already formed together before she became involved, but Padme's personality would definitely be you bring me in on this is important, I'm going to start taking charge. Yeah. So, but still is, in the previous chapter, we saw that experience, and he was there to talk about Anakin with her, so. Yeah, but one thing, though, about this, that whole thing with it occurring to her that it is Obi-Wan she trusts fully, not Anakin. She loves Anakin fully, but trusts Obi-Wan. This moment kind of explains that. Well, explains it, justifies it. Because Obi-Wan's character, if he were hearing this, would have just rejected it. May have even gone to the point of, okay, I know you're trying to manipulate me. So keep saying whatever you're saying. I'm listening to know what you're trying to achieve here with this manipulation. But Anakin actually just has doubts about her now. Obi-Wan would have rejected it and been like, no, he would not be able to doubt Anakin, would not be able to doubt Padme in any of this. But Anakin just has doubts and actually goes there, senses that Obi-Wan was there. Also picks up the smell of a drink that when the Senders, when visiting there, had, and he's like, Padme hates this stuff, and Obi-Wan actually has an allergic reaction to it. So there's been other people here as well. When she comes back, and this is the middle of the day, she's like, it's the middle of the day, you can't be here. Because that would expose them. They get talking, and he is angry. Angry at her, yeah, partly. Well, angry at the politician that is Padme. Not at the person as Padme, but angry at her. And also, just all the frustration that he's feeling, all the pressure. And she is a target for a while. It's not until she actually raises her hand and touches him that his anger finally breaks. Which is actually kind of a nice moment. Just to show, not necessarily, it is partly her control over him. Control isn't the right, well, in a way it is. She can give him emotional control, but by doing that. Which is an influence she has on him. She would never misuse that, so control isn't the right word, but she does have this kind of influence. What was the other point? I know I had a second point that my brain is not working that well. That's right. It also gives a glimpse into who Anakin wants himself to be, or who his actual character is there. Once the anger is gone, because the anger is born of that frustration, mate. If he could escape the sources of the frustration, he'd probably be fine. But instead, he's in the middle of it because that's where Palpatine has placed him. And the Jedi Council is also trying to take advantage of that placement. But it still is just not a good situation for him. Alright, so what ultimately happens then is a meeting. The Senders come to see Palpatine about this. And basically having assurances that he will give up power once the war is ended. And it's a lot of political double talk there. Because it's, what are you going to do about the governors that you've placed here? Well, they're, are they going to influence this House of Senate? It's like, no. They're only there to secure you, to make sure that the factories for the war effort are running at peak efficiency and to coordinate things. And so that's all their purpose there, and they're not my governors, they're the Republic's governors. So then once this war's done, you'll remove them? Well, that will be up to the Senate. It's like, you're the one who put them. I mean, it's the whole, I am the leader of the Senate, I am the power of the Senate, I am the Senate. And then, it's like he can say that, and then also the whole, no, it is the Senate that makes these decisions. Political double talk. There's also in there talking about the Constitution and how they're like, will we go back to that, or can you promise that there will be no further amendments to the Constitution? And he's like, why are we talking about the Constitution? We have a war on. Let's worry about that when the war is done. Things like that. And also, it clearly is like, thank you for this petition that you've given to me with 2,000 names. Guess who's not going to live long? But part of this meeting, and it's mainly Padme that's talking here, but part of this meeting, he has Anakin positioned beside him. Which, this is again one of those things that Obi-Wan likely would have found a way to ameliorate this situation. Anakin probably doesn't have the political wherewithal to recognize this, that Palpatine putting Anakin next to him, putting a Jedi next to him, suggests to the Senators that the Jedi may support Palpatine, or at least that they might not be able to have as much faith, as much trust in the Jedi as they believed that there might be. So because they did want to go to the Jedi to at least have their moral authority added to their side, but Anakin being there is suggestive that might not work, and is, for Palpatine, to Palpatine's credit, is a tremendously good political move, and to Anakin's discredit, he shouldn't have allowed himself to be there. To be in the room is one thing, but should have been like off to the side. And if Palpatine was like, no, I want you standing here, you can be like, I can observe them better from here. Or that, for what you need me here for, I can be anywhere in the room. This is more comfortable. Just something so I am not here to contribute, I'm here to observe. If he's next to Palpatine, he's contributing just by his presence. So, Anakin doesn't have that kind of political thinking to him. He is, I think one way to put it doesn't work well everywhere though, is Anakin can tend to be a very sincere person. You ask him to do something, he will simply do it. And he will do so with sincerity. The problem is he doesn't think about the significance of that. He doesn't, he assumes sincerity from other people. So we would assume if Palpatine asked him to be there, it's just because he's like, oh, well, that's just where Palpatine wants me to stand. He doesn't think that there are motives behind it. Which kind of goes back a bit to the whole, he's not critical with what Palpatine is saying. He just accepts things with sincerity, which is also then when Palpatine tells him something that makes him doubt the Jedi, he sincerely accepts that there's reason to doubt, even though he shouldn't. Similarly with Padme. He sincerely accepted that there might be something, a problem there with Obi-Wan having gone to see her. Because he accepts that Palpatine is being sincere. It's not true, but doesn't matter. Obi-Wan is likely also a very sincere person, but knows to consider motives. And he doesn't want to play parts in people's political plays. So, yeah. Wow, another short one. I guess that is a benefit to being sick. I just want to see. Because we should be getting to part 3 soon. I just want to see what that is. We can do that now. Wow. This next one is a long chapter. Holy crap. It's 42 pages long. It's going to take me a while. So that next one will probably be long. Then we have that. Okay. The chapter of that is really short. It looks like part 3, Apocalypse, is basically after, in the movie, Anakin decides to serve Palpatine as a Sith, and Lord Vader, that whole thing. Well, okay, maybe only near that. Okay, well, I'll get to that later. I just want to. Uh, okay, maybe the timing I have is. Okay, I'm not entirely sure, but at least it's around that. Might just be him, Anakin, telling them uh, that Palpatine is Sidious. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's about where part 3 is. So yeah, and there is only 3 parts to the book. Okay, I'll stop it now. And I honestly, I want to do that just to give a sense of where we still are, what is considered significant turning points in that, because I know the book is separated by parts, not just by chapters. Which, what the hell? Why not talk a little bit longer? I actually do also do that with the Catherine verse thus far, but that's not exactly turning points. Like for a letter from Catherine, it's locations technically. So it's like the first part is on the space station, second part is on the Nancy Grace Roman's ship, which that gives away the source of that name. I'll talk about that when I do the assigned readings for it. And then the third part is on the ghost ship that's found. I don't remember. There technically might be a fourth part for when he goes to Earth. I don't remember. That might just be part of the ghost ship part. Might be. I mean, it's only like 2 or 3 chapters that it is at Earth, or at least near Earth. So it might be 4 parts, but it's like, for me, that's all I did here. Here, it's more dramatic moments than just locations. Alright, now I'm done. See you next time.